Today's Ask the Expert is sponsored by Synergy Home.
Well, today we are back with Synergy Homes. We're asking the expert, and we're talking about one of my favorite subjects because I'm an ex-accountant, ex-CPA.
Yeah.
So I am all about home energy savings and tax credits and all that good stuff. What do you guys have to offer?
Well, I'm all about tax credits in general because I pay way too many taxes.
Yes.
So anything I can to save on that is a big thing. And over the last decade or so, the federal government has incentivized us to upgrade to higher efficiency things. Because you probably don't realize it, but I have 60 different heating and cooling systems that I can offer you for your house. So when I walk into your house to give you an option, I have to narrow it from 60 down to about 3 or 4 so we can have a conversation. And one of the ways we do that is what qualifies for the home energy efficiency tax credit, because it is a big number, especially if you have a heat pump or a dual fuel system, because that comes in at $2,000. Well, you know, the average price of a new heating and cooling system nationwide right now is about $10,000. When you get into Energy Star and nicer, the government's going to rebate you $2,000 or up to 20%. So, and that system's going to save you month over month with lower utility bills, and they're going to be more energy, not just more energy efficient, more comfortable. You know, the manufacturers, when we're looking at 60 products, when we start down here at the lower end, those are your builder's grade that have no frills, and that's kind of like that, you know, 86 Caprice that I learned to drive on, you know. Actually had a Chevette there for a while, right? So that's on your lower end, and then we've got the Cadillac with all the bells and whistles and everything else. Energy Star is usually in the middle, and that's where these things come in. So not only are you saving money, you're getting a tax credit to help you save money, and you're getting nicer equipment. And you know, all the manufacturers build the lower end stuff kind of as cheaply as possible because they want to be competitive in that new construction market or for apartments or rental property or whatever. So those units aren't going to last as long. You know, we know our cheaper equipment in the industry, you're going to get maybe 10, 12 years out of it, a little bit better than that. When you start getting Energy Star or nicer, they're so much better built. You're going to get more longevity out of it. So if you're in a home that you plan on being for a long time, you really want to go Energy Star or better, because if not, you're going to be doing this again in 10 years or so. So it's really, really important. And air conditioners have a $600 credit. Your gas furnace has a $600. Again, the heat pump is, the government is trying to push us towards energy, you know, all electrification is what they call it, but all electric homes. That's why they're doing the bigger incentive. $600 for an AC, $2,000 for a heat pump. Now that doesn't mean if you currently have an AC that you have to go back with AC. You can always convert to a heat pump and do a hybrid or a dual fuel. So we have a lot of options. So we want to make sure we educate you on all that. Solar and geothermal, this is really cool. Unlimited tax credit. So 30% of whatever you spend, I don't care if you spend $10,000 or $100,000. We had a horse farm that spent $230,000 a couple of years ago. They got a $70,000 or $80,000 tax credit. And that is a credit, so that's a dollar for dollar. That's not just making your deduction better, but it's making your refund better.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and another reason to act fast is we've had a recent change in administration, and not to be political, but we know that when there's changes, it can also change the tax credits.
So if you go back to the first Trump administration, we were selling a whole lot of geothermal systems, and in 2017, that credit went away. So a lot of people that bought geothermal in 2016 got 30%. And then a couple of years later, the credit comes back. So if you're in this tiny little window, you missed out on 30% tax credit. So I know these are in effect today. I know they're in effect for the immediate term. We don't know with a stroke of a pen. These are at the whim of the government. So if they decide they want to take them away, there's nothing we can do about it. So my point is act now, because we can guarantee them now. So give Synergy a call at 859-687-0553 or mysynergyhome.com.
Today's Ask the Expert was sponsored by Synergy Home.
Gosh, all that talk about tax credits reminds me tax day is next week.
That's right,
I need to get on it. Okay, all the information for Synergy Home is up on the screen.